I have a really cool game that I want to tell you about, Jacob.
Tell me about it.
I'm going to delve into your mind, and I'm going to infect your mind with the mind.
Wait, so there's a mind within a mind?
Yes, it has already happened. You have
Oh.
been infected. Okay, this is really exciting to talk about because I've probably played this game 15 times in about a span of a week and a half, and it is not available yet. It had to spend about an hour, and I made my own copy.
Whoa.
Yeah, you ready? You want it? You ready? What it
I'm re-
is?
I'm ready.
Is the mind.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so the mind is a 2 to 4 player game. Takes about, I would say, 10 to 30 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes. Let's just say that, round that up to a nice 15 to 30. The designer is Wolfgang Warsch, and the artist is Oliver Freudenreich, with publisher Pandasaurus Games in the United States, which is having an Origins release and will be in stores in July.
Oh, that's soon.
Yes, it is very soon. Interestingly enough, there's a game similar to The Mind called The Game. Have you heard of The Game?
Okay, I've heard of the game from like maybe a year or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe, yeah, okay.
Yep. So it is very similar to The Game, and I just need to preface this by saying that for me personally, The Mind, I think, is one of the best card games I've ever played.
That's huge.
That's a huge thing to say, but I truly believe it. And let me explain why. Because there's a magic that happens in this game. Okay, so in The Mind, it's a card game. You are given a deck of cards, 100 cards, 1 to 100, each of them unique. You're also given 5 heart cards, 5 life cards, 3 of which at the start of the game you get, and you have shuriken cards. You get 3 of them throughout the game. You don't start with any. You then have 12 level cards, starting with level 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 12. So the game is, again, 2 to 4 players, 2 to 5 players. It's expandable. You can actually play as much, to the player count that you want, but honestly, it gets harder with the more people you play with.
Is it adding multiple decks together, or is it just with one deck still?
One deck.
Okay, all right.
So here's what you do. You start off by placing your 3 heart cards at the center of the table. You start off by shuffling this deck of 100 cards, and you start at level 1. And at level 1, each player gets 1 card, face down, secret. Everybody looks at their card. When you're ready to play, everybody must take their hand and place it face down in the middle of the table to signify that they are ready to have their minds combined. Okay? Everybody does that. And once everybody places their hands on the middle of the table, they release from the table, and no one is allowed to speak. You are not allowed to speak. You are not allowed to make any sort of nonverbal cues that kind of hints at what type of card you have in your hand. You are allowed to kind of like stare at each other and move your eyebrows and maybe give a smirk or maybe give a frown. You can take your card that's face down and maybe move it closer to the middle of the table, but at no point in time are you able to give any sort of clue. You can't cheat and say blink 4 times and you have the number 4 card, right? That's not possible. So the objective of the game is to play cards from the lowest to the highest. So the lowest card gets played, then the second lowest, the second highest, third highest, fourth highest. But you have to do it while not talking. You have to communicate. You have to be a singular mind and figure out who has the lowest card, who has the second highest card, who has the third highest card. And I swear to you, this is the most amount of fun I've had in a card game in a very, very long time. With essentially, what is it? Less than 120 cards? It's ridiculous.
Okay, hold on. So is it from like 0 to 50 or 0 to 20?
0 to 100, 1 to 100. So you can have anywhere between 1 and 100.
Oh my gosh.
In every level. And the first time I played this, I played 3-player. We were supposed to get to level 10. We made it to level 7.
Okay.
I've played it with 4 players. We only made it to level 3. It's also a really great 2-player game. If you ever want to fall in love with anybody, just play The Mind, honestly, because you stare at them and you just like fall into their eyes, and you just like it's kind of an intense experience. I'm not gonna lie, because
Okay.
when you start flipping cards and you play the lowest card, and then someone else on the table plays the card, and you're just getting close to the end before you just you're out. It's a really intense feeling. Let's say you have a 50 card, right? And someone has a 52. You're both inching your way closer to this pile, right? That had like a 39 played. And you're like just basically having it's a cooperative game. You're all working together.
Yeah, yeah.
But yet it's like this weird competition in terms of like playing this game of card chicken in terms of like, I have the lowest card. No, I have the lowest card. And you're just like, it's insane, dude. Like,
Okay.
I strongly recommend, like, there's a way that you can get it, I've heard. And people have been getting copies through Amazon.de because it's a German game right now. So you could theoretically spend like the €8 and whatever with shipping to get it from Germany over across. Or you literally just find pieces of paper, do 1 through 100, right? And just be able to find the rules online, which I just want to reiterate, like, this is a game that I'm fully intent on purchasing and buying the most expensive sleeves and sleeving it and keeping it in my collection forever. Like, I just don't want to make it seem like I'm ripping off the game and not going to support it, because it needs to be supported. This is a game that it's frustrating how simple it is, and it's more fun than you ever thought it would be. Like, it's kind of frustratingly fun because it's just like, it's a game so simple and it does something so cool that you're just like, I wish I could have thought of this because of how simple it was. And it's an intense experience, dude. It's so good. It's so good.
It's doing two things for me right now. It's giving me goosebumps just thinking about that. And it's also blowing my mind. That's right. I made a mind pun.
I don't know. That
was terrible.
No, you take that back.
I take that back.
So,
no, but for real, I pre-ordered it on Amazon, so it's done.
It's gonna be so good. There's one last thing I want to make mention to, and it's the fact of those shurikens, right? So some quick things before we wrap this up is that the shurikens help. So at any point in the time where you can't make a decision, right? So you've been at this kind of mental chicken game for like 2 minutes. Everyone at the table can raise their hand, and if they do so, they can discard a shuriken card, and everybody at the table can then discard their lowest card. So that helps, right? And the way you gain these shuriken cards are passing levels. So at level 1, if you pass it, you get nothing. At level 2, you get a shuriken. At level 3, you get an extra life. So, and that's just how it continues. Again, level 2, you get 2 cards. Level 3, you get 3 cards. If at any point in time, anyone discard or puts a card in the middle and you have a lower card, everybody reveals their lower cards, you lose a life, but then the play continues. It's not like you scoop the entire game. So like the game keeps going, because you could essentially have this intense game where you lose 2 lives in the first 3 rounds, but then you make a 4-round blitz and you end up getting to like level 6, level 7, and it's just like you have 1 life left and you're just like sweating, making sure that you have counting from 1 to 100 shouldn't be this fun using your mind. It's so ridiculous. The only thing is that the artwork has like this weird Noid, like weird bunny rabbit type of
I saw that.
To it. It doesn't matter. I'm not a fan of it personally. I don't understand what it is. There might be some reasoning behind it, but to be quite honest with you, like, you don't need any art to experience how great the mind is.
Did you make a Yonoid reference? Is that what that was?
You're damn right I did.
Wow.
Yep. That just shows my age there, people.
That's incredible.
Yep.
I gotta go play that NES game right now.
Yep. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. Anyways, please, in July, put this in the back of your brain, right? I'm going to plant the seed of the mind in everyone's brain right now, so that when you see it somewhere, it's going to trigger, and you're going to remember this part of the podcast, and that's the mind.
Beautiful.